as an author, journalist, and so on, I find that most people in authority don't want to look, and I'm talking about journalism now as don't look, don't see. If it's too dangerous, we don't run the story. And you see this in small town America. I lived in Kelowna, Iowa, population 1,600 when I first moved there. When the mayor shot his wife and killed her and her unborn child, you had to read the Cedar Rapids Gazette because the Kelowna News didn't mention it. And that is what's wrong today, I think, with small town newspapers is there are problems that the community has, but we really don't want to talk about it. So we ignore it. And I've had to step in for kids, for example, and be the butt. I went to all the Mennonite churches in the Kelowna area to plaster on their windshield the fact that there was drug problems at the Mennonite high school. Now, it wasn't me. I didn't know that. It was the Mennonite kids who told me. We've told our parents, we've told our teachers, and nobody will listen. What do you mean? Sight, smell, touch, hearing, taste. I think that's it, isn't it? Oh, yes. I said I just filled up my gas tank because my premonition said they're going to raise the price tomorrow.
Balance. We tend not to think of balance as a sense.
Well, I don't know if I would consider balance or imbalance. It's like crazy or not crazy.
Like you can tell me where, with your eyes closed, you can tell me which way's up and which way's down.
Sure.
Even if you did a somersault.
I don't know, but I think yes. If I did multiple numbers of somersaults, after a while I'd get a little dizzy and maybe I wouldn't. But I don't know, sound tends to orient, my sense of up and down. And I think if I stood on my head, I would still know which way was up and which way was down because the sound would be different.
Can you think of any other senses that we don't normally talk about?
Well, I think we said touch, taste.
Now, we did say touch, and a lot of people group pain with with the feeling hot and cold.
Yeah.
Those seem like they're different senses.
Well, but you also realize that science may not say it, but there are people who are blind, who see with their hands, who literally can tell colors by touching them. And I don't find anything wrong with that, just as there are people who sense something around the corner. I have always said all my life I'm non-accident prone because I might make a decision to turn off or stop here because something's going to happen down the road, and it's been too much. I have driven millions of miles, and I have never been at the scene of an accident.
How do blind people see colors with their hands?
That I cannot tell you, but I can tell you that there are those people who have been able to do that. And just like Helen Keller managed to, and this is Mark Twain, actually react to Mark Twain when she was a little girl. The latest book of Mark Twain's writing talks about having met Helen Keller when she was 14 years old. and she knew his books, and he felt that she had something beyond her loss of hearing and sight, because she was able to intuit from him the humor in his work. And this is what is fascinating, that Mark Twain waited 100 years to have his works published, and this is one of the incidents that was singled out, that Mark Twain met Helen Keller when she was 14.
He waited 100 years?
He died 100 years ago, and he didn't want his memoirs published until now. So except for some excerpts over the years, the full biography that Mark Twain left behind was only published in the last few months.
That's amazing. I didn't know that.
Yeah, it's been reviewed on various programs, and I, as I don't know if I'm a working journalist, but I'm a man who always listens, looks everywhere at everything. Democracy Now! I just opened a book by Rodney Stitch, and this is a man that was a pilot in World War II, and yet he has done more informing about the drugs and corruption than I have been able to do in my 20-some years. And when I thought, that guy must be dead, the last book was 1998 that I have. It's autographed by him. And I went and looked, and lo and behold, in 2003 he did another one. In 2005 he did another one. And the interesting thing about that is I don't like to buy books if I don't have to, so I went to interlibrary loan. They informed me that only 3 places in the United States actually had copies of those books. But by the next day, they said, well, my interlibrary loan was, no, you can't get them anyplace. And I think it's fascinating that people fail to realize that we're so vastly censored in this country. And the media is part of the censorship. They decide, as Clone News did when the mayor killed his wife and her unborn child, that, hey, that's not news our local people want to know about, and let them get the Gazette if they want to read about it.